Once again, thank you for your patience. We're juggling the time frames around a little bit. We will still be doing beach, but we're going to be doing the beach after dinner. So, because Darlene was saying everybody's starving, so we're going to do a quick segment here. There was going to be the before beach segment. There's 20 new things that they gave us, 20 new diagram things that had to be done before beach because there were codes involved that came out of the diagrams that we need to use in the activation for the beach. So that's why it took so long to get these down. So we're going to juggle the time frames in that. We'll have dinner about 9:15. It'll be ready. Because I just want to give you at least a quick run through of what the new information is, because it's really exciting actually, and to get you with the code inductions, so you're ready for when it's beach time, and then we'll go to the beach after dinner and run the journey, because there's a big journey that we're going to run, and it's a really big one. And then you guys will come back, and I will go back to the house up in Mayaka and get the next 20 diagrams or whatever down. Last night they told me, I said, how many diagrams are there? And there are all these like alignment diagrams that are center point alignments, they call it, where, I won't go into that, but it's a nightmare basically. Even on a computer, it's really difficult. And I said, how many new ones are there? And they said, well, technically there's 70. And I said, are you crazy? Right? There's no way we're going to get 70 diagrams done, in that time period. And they said, well, we'll work on it. We'll try for brevity. But I've got 20 more in the sequence here that go, with the program. And then after the beach, you guys will have some free time. I'm going to come back sometime between 3 and 6 in the morning, preferably 3. I know there's some people that have to leave early, and I'm a little bit curious of time frame, because I will move the program in a way that all of the techniques get done before, most of the earliest leaving times. And so you get the program. And for people that do have to leave, I believe we can go to like 9 or 10 if we with the room or something like that, Darlene said. If you have to leave before that, we can do the private access Vimeo streaming thing, so you can get, the rest of the workshop, by the time you get home or whatever. It should be there within a day. So we're trying to work out, with the time frames because of this crazy one. We're not going to be like, at least I'm here, instead of like in the May workshop, I think it was, where it just went crazy, where they had me on diagrams for like almost 48 hours. And I was just like invisible. I was just not here. And the workshop went 2 days late. And that's a nightmare for everybody's logistics. So we're not doing that this time. So we're trying to work around the fact that, well, we're still trying to stretch that time wave, but we're not really good at it yet, apparently. So I just wanted to let you know with that. Now, for 6 in the morning, how many people have to leave by or before 6? Hands, like, I just want to get a feel. Oh, that's good. 7? 8? 9? 10. Okay, so 9 o'clock will work for everybody. Okay, that's really, really good. I was afraid like half the audience would put their hand up for 6, and I'd be like, oh my God, how am I going to squish this all together, get these diagrams done, get in there by 3, and get it all done by 6, right? Oh, that's good. I'm really, really glad. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is go pretty quickly through this, so because your dinner will be waiting, but I want you to see some of this. I'll spend more time on some of these graphs after beach, but the most important ones have to do with going to the beach and the activations that are necessary. Excuse me a minute to fight with my... It doesn't have its point on it, because I kept it off when it broke, because I was afraid it'd go flying into the audience and hit somebody in the eye or something, but now it won't come out of its thing. It's stuck. Great. Arlene, would you have an extra pointer? And I was doing so good, actually, having it with me. Yeah. Anyway, I will point with my finger until we figure out the pointer issue. All right. The 25 sacred sites of the Alhambra Cathedrals Network. We've seen this before. Oops, Ella's gone. I have to flip my L's. I just put that up there to remind us that we've seen this before, because we're going to look at the Chi sites one next. There we go. Chi sites one next. Yeah. part of the activations that are taking place on the beach and throughout the period of this seminar have to do with activations of the chi sites, the primary chi sites. And the ones that we're going to be activating are chi site 1. It's at the Temple of Arayas out at Mayaka, and the other one is Kai Site 3 in Norway, and that's why Jan and a team are over there to do the activation there, and that's what we're going to link through before dinner. We're going to do a short link through to run the frequencies together on both sides, so we bring them in both places at the same time. So we can talk more about that later. I just wanted to let you know that's part of the activation, but there's a huge part that's it's just, this is the most amazing information that I've ever seen that they've given us, and I'm really excited about it. So it has to do with what's activating. But there's a lot of things you have to see or understand kind of really quick first. There's a reading of 3 pages of the most dense information I've ever been given that will help you understand what the activations are about and what these codes are about that we're going to see. So I'll just go quickly through the next, let's start going. This is what we're going to be doing when we do the beach thing: theoretical exploration and activation of the following: the Kosmaya and House of the Nobilities, the Pinnacle and the House of Principalities, House of the 24 Dominions and the 3 domiciles of the dominions, House of Ephi, the Ephi Infinitum, Epheron Crystal Room with a View, and the Eternal Cave of Communion. The Eternal Cave of Communion, Halls of Astrija Ta'u, and Immaculation of the Deity. The House of Ephi, the Ephi Infinitum. Now the beach meditation journey is going to be Journey to the Eternal Cave of Communion, the Epheron Crystal Room with a View, Opening the Halls of Astrija Ta'u, Activation of Planetary Chi Sites 1 and 3, and opening the Schema Passage and Carusa Membrane, interfaces with Earth's crust and lower atmosphere, and Median Earth Time Passage 1 to Median Earth Middle Mantle Subterranean Biome Crystal Cave Temples. And it begins the initiation of the Immaculation, your eternal identity and your personal vow, voice of wisdom. Now, to understand the significance of what all those things are, they gave me a 3-page, very text-dense, 3 pages of text on some of the most amazing material that I've ever seen. This is what we have been climbing this ladder to reach, and we are finally at the top of the ladder where we can commune with God Source, First Eternal. Now, next one, please. This, we didn't have time to typeset some of this yet. This is part of the diagram from the earlier teachings on the translation sequence, as far as how consciousness translates itself, the process it translates itself through into manifestation. And it started with the first 12 steps of materialization, which dealt with the pre-substance plasms, which would be these up here, and then steps out into still pre-substance protoplasm, which is hydrolase, living pre-water. Then it steps out to that's step 6. Then step 7 steps out to the vapors. Step 8 steps out to the metallic electroplasmas. Steps out to the 6 core atomic matter, conscious hydrogel, liquid light, hydroplasms. So, and there's more on the next page. The important part that they want us to see in relation to this is everything is about this. There's a point. We've been educated in all of the structure of external creations, all of the structures of light body, spirit body, all of that stuff. And then they took us into the structures of internal creation and, the deity planes and all of that to some degree. They've explained that. Well, this is the point where you go from the Kosmaya, understanding what Kosmaya is, and going into the transfigurative states that go back through this process from out here and progressively get less dense and turn back into the consciousness of God's source. There's a structure that goes with those fields as well. So some of the new words that are in the writings that are, the next couple milars is, I was hoping, did you find one? Thank you. That's really helpful, especially on this one. Great. Thank you, Daphne. All right, so some of the concepts that we saw on the "this is what we're going to learn about and do at the beach" thing that was the page before are from the writings. And the writings have, when you hear them, this will make more sense to you, but they plug in to this path. When we look at the Kasmaya, and we've been studying Kasmaya enough so we know which one that is. It's the one that has the 7 Kasmaya within it, and it's the big one that we've known so far as the big one. The Kasmaya is made of this stuff, hydroplasmas. But these are plasmas. That's way out, stepped out from plasms, right? There's a 3-layer field around every Kasmaya that's called the Dharaleya Coronas of the Kasmaya, and that separates and holds separate, distinct from the fields of the Kasmaya, and then all the Kasmaya and everything else within them, from what's beyond that. What's beyond that is a larger structure that has to do with all those A words, the Astriya Ta'u and the Astriya Jatu, right? I'm trying to remember these. So when we understand that the Kasmaya is made of this stuff, the 3 layers of its coronas are made of these. So it's this one, that would be its inner layer closest to it. Next one out would be the vapors, the metallic electroplasmas first, then going back to the vapors, then going to the pre-substance protoplasm. So that is where the reality fields of the Kasmaya begin to step back into pure consciousness. The next step is the structures of the Astriya Jatu, and this is, you'll see the diagrams of this. It has 4 Kasmaya in it, so 4 Kasmaya are linked in the Astriya Jatu. And at the center of the Astriya Jatu, you have the, where's the word? Astriya Tahu, which is its center ball, right? So there's this whole other structure that deals with this and is made of this stuff, the pre-substance plasms. And we're going to learn about the pre-substance plasms, and this is where we start to go into those houses of. The nobilities, we mentioned those a little bit before, have to do with the frequencies down here, the nobility elements, and they're considered the noble elements that eventually step out to become the tangible, elemental consciousness in the external creation. So these are known as the house of nobilities of the Kasmaya. So the Kasmayas are the house of nobilities. There are other houses, and we're going to learn a bit about those. I'll read them to you first, and then later we can go back over this more. But it is showing the step back in process. What is ascension but going all the way up that ladder of creation and stepping back in to source consciousness field. So this is what this stage of the journey is about. It's the last stage of the journey, where you go from the external worlds through the internal worlds, and then from the internal worlds through into the step back from hydroplasmas to electroplasmas to vapors to protoplasm to the plasms, and the step fully back in is to the Aya, and that's the word we've used a long time ago for the God Source, the essence of the God Source consciousness field, the unutterable one. So we'll just use Aya because it's a lot shorter to type and to say than God Source consciousness field, or eternal life for creation God Source consciousness field. So there's a whole bunch of information we're being given about this area of creation and the step back of ascension. So let's look at the next one. And we'll cover this more when we come back from the beach and things, but I just want to give you, this is the rest, I'm not going to go through these. This is the rest of the step out process that goes with that diagram, or that list that was from other workshops before that showed the stages of the creation. So this is basically a quick rundown of all of that, where you have eternal source field, or the Aya field, is Eta Or consciousness. Then stepping out, it becomes plasm, then protoplasm, then vapors, then metallic electroplasma, then hydroplasma, thermoplasma, ectoplasma, and endoplasma. And that's what our system is made out of out here, the endoplasmas. So that's a really quick, in a nutshell, what that step out process is. So the step back process, which is the process of transfigurative ascension, is from endoplasma, where we are, back through ectothermo hydroplasma, into metallic electroplasma, then vapors, then protoplasm, then plasm, then back into or consciousness at one with God's source consciousness field. And there's a lot going on in this process. So it's fascinating, and the information is fascinating, and this is the information that they've been giving us now. Next one, please. This is just to remind us that is the Kosmaya, and what's the bigger one around that? Because there is a bigger one. So let's see the next one, please. I just put this up for a minute so to help people remember in the infinite eternal lands of Ha, when we covered that material in the sliders series, the Aya, Sea of Dreams, is the living infinite eternal God source consciousness field equals the unutterable one. The Aya equals the essence of the unutterable one. So when you see the word Aya, that's what we're referring to. All right, next one, please. Here we go. Oh boy, okay. The Kosmaya and House of the Nobilities has to do with the Kosmaya, pre-matter, pre-substance, House of Nobilities, the Nobilities, the Dharaleya Coronis, and Cloak of the Nobilities. The conscious living energy fields of which each Kosmaya is composed are in the form of core atomic matter hydroplasmas, conscious hydrogel liquid light, core atomic matter, step 9 translation sequence. The hydroplasmas are atomic elemental base matter made of the Iradeya nobilities, noble elements, and thus the Kosmayas are referred to as the nobilities. Each Kosmaya nobility of internal creation is surrounded by a multi-layered living energy field called the Dharaleya Coronis, which serves as a permeable energetic boundary between each Kosmaya and the greater, larger conscious energy fields of which the Kosmaya are a part. The Dharaleya Coronis field has 3 layers. The inner layer, called the Darsine, is composed of pre-matter metallic electroplasmas, Manu, Mane, and Prana, which is Mana plus Ira, step 8 of the translation sequence. The middle layer, called the Leya, is composed of pre-matter Ari vapors, hydroplasmic hydros and thermoplasmic ectos, pre-matter substance, step 7 translation sequence. The outer layer, called the ostrium, is composed of pre-substance. So we went from pre-matter now back to pre-substance, protoplasm hydrolase, which is Aluria rashatan, hydroacoustic hydrolase living pre-water, pre-substance, step 6 in the translation sequence. The layered Dharaleya Coronis is referred to as the cloak of the nobilities. It serves as a permeable energetic boundary that separates the pre-matter, pre-substance consciousness fields of the Kosmaya nobilities from the Aluria pre-substance consciousness fields of the Austria Jatu, house of the room with a view, within which the Kosmaya collective house of nobilities resides. Next. Now, we're going into understanding more about what's up there beyond the Kosmaya. The pinnacle in the house of principalities, the Austria Jatu, pre-substance plasms, house of principalities, the precepts, Austri Jatau pinnacle, the room with the view. The larger pre-substance consciousness field within which the Kosmaya house of nobilities is stationed is called the Austria Jatu. The Austria Jatu pre-substance consciousness field is composed of eternal consciousness in the form of the 5 pre-substance consciousness states of plasm. The Austria Jatu plasm field is structured into a set of 4 outer domains called precepts and 1 central domain called the Austria Jatau, the room with the view, or pinnacle. Collectively, the 4 precepts and the central pinnacle of the Austria Jatu are referred to as the principalities, or the house of principalities. Each of the 4 outer precepts contains one cosmaya. All cosmaya and the cosmea within them retain their eternal connection to the Aya, unutterable, one, living, infinite, eternal God source consciousness field, through the 4 precept, presubstance, plasma consciousness fields within which they are stationed. The 4 precepts within the Astriya Jatu sustain their connection to the Aya eternal field through their interrelationship with the central Astrijatau pinnacle. Each of the 4 outer precept fields and the central Astrijatau pinnacle stands as an eternal keeper of the state. Each is composed exclusively of one of the 5 presubstance plasm states and serves as a perpetual generator of the presubstance conscious plasm form that stands within its protectorate. The 4 outer precepts are keepers of plasma states 2 through 5. 2 is endoplasm, warm liquid heated vapor eta or plasm. 3 is thermoplasm, electrified heat vapor eta or. 4 is hydroplasm, liquid gel eta or. And 5 is ectoplasm, gossamer thread crystallized eta or. The central Astrijatau pinnacle is keeper of plasm state 1, pure plasm, cool crystalline eta or, and stands as the keeper of the door to the room with a view. Next one, please. The Ariana, the Kai, house of the 24 dominions, and 3 domiciles of the dominions. Within the central Astrijatau pinnacle of the Astrijatau exists a, start that again. Within the central Astrijatau pinnacle of the Astrijatau exists a set of 8 pure units of eta or consciousness, each of which hold the eternal Chris code mathematical encryption for the 8 eternal suns. This eta or core collective is called the Ariana. The Ariana is the eternal gateway to the infinite eternal Aya consciousness field and is structured as a first 8-cell cluster flame halls set. The central point of the Ariana translates pure Aya consciousness into mobilized eta or consciousness units, then outsteps the eta or C units, consciousness units, to the central Astrijatau pinnacle, which then further translates the eta or consciousness units into the 5 eternal presubstance plasm states and distributes them to their corresponding precepts. A single Ariana exists as one of a set of 3 eternal Ariana. From each of the 3 eternal Ariana, one set of Astrijatau presubstance plasm fields are born through the eternal phasing of the 3 Ariana within the Aya field. The 3 Ariana are bound together in a triveka configuration, which is the 1 sphere on top and then the 2 same-sized spheres down below, and the 2 phase together and spark and go, it's like Partakai phasing. So I won't get too far into that now. Anyway, right. I'll start that one over. Yeah, so a single Ariana exists as a set of 3 Arianas. From each of them is born an Astrijatau presubstance plasm field and everything within it, which are the cosmayas, and then the cosmayas going down and everything going down in external creation. All right. The 3 Arianas are bound together in a triveka configuration, forming an eternal phase set trinity called the Ephi, EFFI, within the Aya field. Each of the 8 eternal eta or consciousness units that form each of the 3 Ariana hold a specialized mathematical consciousness encryption for one Chi, KHY. A Chi is an encrypted living point of Aya consciousness, a pre-eta or consciousness unit that carries a specific portion of the eternal Christ creation code. Thus, each Chi represents a first eternal encryption that indefinitely holds a portion of the eternal organizational program upon which the eternal geometrical mathematical pre-substance plasm templates will perpetually structure. The entirety of the eternal creation code for eternal life, perpetual motion creation, contains 24 eternal chi encryptions. The entirety of, I just did that. Each of the 24 eternal eta or consciousness units, 8 consciousness units in each of 3 Ariana equals 24 consciousness units, carries 1 of the 24 chi encryptions. As eternal keepers of the chi, each of the 24 eta or C units of the 3 Ariana are referred to as a dominion because the chi that they keep holds an eternal directive or immutable creation law of consciousness and physics by which eternal creation perpetually stays in motion. Collectively, the 24 eternal eta or C units, consciousness units, dominions of the 3 Ariana are referred to as the house of the 24 dominions. Each of the 3 Ariana, within which a set of 8 dominions are bound, are referred to as the three domiciles of the dominions. Next, the Effie field, Effie flows, the how do you say that again? Ephifara, the Ephiron crystal, and the house of Effie, the Effie infinitum. Through their perpetual phasing, the 3 Ariana domiciles of the dominions generate around their phase-set cluster a chi-encrypted eternal pre-eta or consciousness field of living Aya, consciousness, and identity. This field is referred to as the Effie field. The Effie forms through the processes inherent at the center point of each set of 8 dominions, wherein the eternal Ephiron crystal forms at the crucible point. The Effie field circulates Effie flows between the Effie field and the pre-substance plasma templates of the pinnacle Austrija Ta'u. Upon entering the pinnacle Austrija Ta'u, via passing through the crucible point at its center, the Effie flows transfigure into ectothermoplasm, which is plasm 5 ecto plus plasm 3 thermo. That's where you get considered the K+8 factor, which is the ectothermoplasm of 5 and 3 put together, which is the transfigurative pre-substance eta or chi current called the ephifara. Through circulation of the ephifara, the Effie flows within the plasma and plasm templates of internal and external creation, available only during Karusale cycles and external creation. It allows, I'll read that again, that's a long one. The sentence is a long one. Let me see. Okay, so through circulation of the ephifara, the Effie flows within the plasma and plasm templates of internal and external creation. It's kind of worded funny. Allow entry into the Ephiron crystal room with a view, the eternal cave of communion can be achieved by beings within the manifest realms of internal and external creation. The Effie field and all of its inherent intrinsic parts are collectively referred to as the house of Effie, the Effie infinitum. Now we have graphs that go with these things and we're in the process of making them. We have some of them, and some of them have their basic labeling on them, but there's a lot more information to put on them, and we'll probably just show you what these are like tonight and spend the rest of the time when I go back for diagramming, not trying to clean these up anymore, but trying to get the next sets down, right? So let's see. What this sentence basically means, I kind of worded it funny because it was coming through in pieces, but through the circulation of the ephifara, the Effie flows within the plasma and plasm templates of internal and external creation, are allowed entry into the Ephiron crystal room with the view, which is called the eternal cave of communion. And when you run these flows, that's what the sentence is saying, the entry into the Ephiron crystal room with the view and the eternal cave of communion can be achieved by beings that are in the manifest realms of internal and external creation. The Effie field and all of its inherent intrinsic parts are collectively referred to as the house of Effie, the Effie infinitum. Next one, please. Now, and the diagrams that go with this stuff, I mean, to really do them properly, there's tons of hours on them, right? To put all of like, this is that, and this is that, and this is that, and how it all fits together. But we've got them enough where I think we can get the idea across to you. Once you hear this, you know, and what this is saying, and then we can go see some of the diagrams. It'll, I think, give you at least the gist of what we're talking about. So the crucible point, Ashayana gap, the Epheron crystal room with a view, and the eternal cave of communion. At the center of each of the three Ashayana, one within the central Astriyajatu pinnacle of each of the three Astriyajatu pre-substance consciousness fields, at the center point of each 8-dominion cluster, there is a station of consciousness, or focus zone, that is referred to as the room with a view. It is at this center point, which is called the crucible point, that an Astriyajatu pre-substance consciousness field, and thus its cosmayas and cosmayas, etc., connect directly into the Efi eternal phase set trinity, the first eternal triveka. The crucible point at the center of the Ashayana within the pinnacle Astriyajatu, is the point between the pure Aya eternal consciousness fields of the Efi and the pre-substance plasms fields of the Astriyajatu pinnacle and the Astriyajatu. It is the point at and through which Kai eta or consciousness units transfigure into eternal pre-substance plasms. So that's the point. It's like a doorway between Gusser's consciousness field and the Efi fields that are a part of that, and coming into that collection of cosmayas that is the Astriyajatu. Right? So it's like a doorway between what is plasm and what is before plasm, which is the eta or consciousness. Right? Let's see. Within the crucible point, there is a gap between the pre-substance plasms template and the Efi pre-eta or field. This gap is called the Astrian, also known as the room with a view. The Astrian gap forms a crystalline latticework matrix of cooled Efi pre-eta or, which creates a hollow crystal of frozen Efi flows called the Epheron. The Epheron crystal at the crucible point is the eternal point at which the Aya field directly and perpetually interfaces with creation. The Epheron is the eternal cave of communion with the Aya. The eternal cave of communion, halls of Astriyajatu, and immaculation of the deity. For a being in external creation, manifestation, or materialization to achieve access to the Epheron cave of communion while still encased within a manifest external creation form marks the point at which the encryption of that being is eternally encrypted within the Epheron, and thus the being, in an immaculate version of its current manifest form, becomes eternally and permanently encrypted within the halls of Astriyajatu, the living eternal memory matrix of the one creation. It is also the point at which the being will enter a cycle of immaculation, through which the plasma and plasm templates of the being's current manifest form are progressively attuned to the eternal Chris code encryption as held within the 24 Kai. As the plasma and plasm templates become progressively immaculated to the Kai encryption, distortions within the templates, such as the ancestral encryption, etc., distortions within the templates become progressively erased, and the templates are progressively returned to the immaculate state of the eternal self, the original consciousness encryption and original authentic eternal identity through which the being first entered manifest materialized creation. During the immaculation process, the being becomes progressively able to achieve conscious communion with its personal eternal identity, which is held within the Epheron as an active state of personal consciousness that remains in eternal open flow communion with Aya. The personal eternal identity becomes the personal voice of wisdom that, when asked, will serve to guide the being throughout its manifest life cycles. Upon completion of the immaculation cycle, The being fulfills the state of deification that we've talked about before, where the body is able to transfigure by, once deification is reached, to join the eternal rosters of the deity and enter residency within the deity planes of the Elysian fields of the Kosmaya. This is huge. I guess that made some sense to you. I was hoping it wasn't like, too dense. Really, what? Right? I'm glad you got it enough, right? Let's see. We'll go through because I won't spend too much time on the diagram parts because dinner's waiting. This is simply to say this is the pinnacle and the principalities, the Astriya Jatu house of the room with a view, pre-substance, plasm consciousness field. So you have the 4 precepts, which each one of them holds a Kosmaya, right? So this is the next level up from Kosmaya. So the 4 precepts and the pinnacle, which is the circle in the center. So there's 5 of them, and they're built on the bones are the cathedral code, right? Where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where what that code is really all about. It's way up there in these levels. So the 4 precepts and the pinnacle Astrija. Each of the 4 precepts contains 1 Kosmaya. Each Kosmaya is referred to as a house of nobilities, so that you have 4 houses of nobilities, 4 houses of Kosmaya. And the first one, that is the Astrija, that has all that other interesting stuff in the center of it. That one is the plasma state or the state of state number 1, step out, which is plasm. Then you have the next one, which is endoplasm, and then you have thermoplasm, then you have hydroplasm, then you have ectoplasm. So that's the basic structure. There's a lot more that can be said with this, and I have to pull stuff out of that big dense text and put pieces of it on the diagrams to bring it more home, but might not have time to do that. And if I can explain it well enough with the diagrams that we have, then you can move on to the next wave of who knows what they're going to give us for amazing stuff that's on the itinerary, once we get back from the beach and stuff. So next one, please. This one I didn't get to typeset yet. The Astriya Jatu with its center Ariana and 8 dominions and the house of principalities. So there's the 4 precepts of the house of principalities. Again, you have the 1 is in the center, but they're not precepts. That's the Astriya, no, it's that one I don't have marked. The Astrija Tatu is the one in the center. So you have, again, even though it's numbered 2, 3, 4, and 5, those 4 regions are the 4 precepts. When you come in here, again, there's another of those 8 cell structures, the first 8 cell structures. And this is where it gets really interesting. So you have the Astriya Jatu, you have the 4 precepts, or the house of principalities, and each of those has a house of nobilities within it, a Kosmaya within it. And then you have the Astrija Tau, which is the center region, and here is where we start to find the room with the view. All right, next one, please. Is that really the next one? Okay, yeah, I guess I went that way with it. The 3 Astriya Jatu of Efi, and the 3 Ariana and 24 dominions. The 3 domiciles of the house of the dominions. Okay, now this is the 3, all right, here you have 1 Astriya Jatu, then you have another Astriya Jatu, and you have the 3rd Astriya Jatu. That's that Tribeca configuration that forms the Efi, and the Efi field they were talking about, right? And each one of the Astriya Jatu has 1 Ariana, and inside the Ariana are the 8 dominions. So together you have 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3 gives you the 24 dominions, and the 3 houses, or the 3 domiciles of the dominions, which are the 3 Arianas, each holding 8 of them. All right. Now this is literally where Gossard's consciousness becomes pre-substance, or pre-eta-or, and then eta-ors, and then steps out to become pre-substance plasms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there isn't a top point past this. That's why it's like, the pinnacle and those kind of things are affiliated with it. And once we are able to open those frequencies into ourselves, it's not about climbing the ladder anymore. It's about just expanding out into those consciousness fields and that level of our own consciousness. So this is the phase set where these would phase together on the center, the center Astriya Jatu. These two would come together periodically and spark, pull together, and do a TTJ fold up into and become one, and then recharge it, and they would come back out again. And that is the big one is the Efi, and that is the configuration of a Christ star. So that's one Christ star. There are other Christ stars, but that is what a Christ star creation field is all of that stuff we've learned about actually takes place in one Christ star. And the Christ stars, I don't know if they have a direct link, like if they're in separate places in the consciousness field of God's source, or how they're going to explain that at some point. But this is the height, because at this point there is a space called the Epheron crystal room of the view that is a space where there's an open flow and circulation of Aya consciousness. So it's pure source consciousness once you can enter that space. And that's the space that we're able to begin the opening of now because of the Karusala cycles, because external creation can only access these things when the intrafacial liaison passages open. So this is really exciting, events that we're going to be able to take part in. All right, so that shows the three of the Astriya Jatu together, and at the center of each one of them, they have their Astriya Tau centers with all of that stuff, the Arianas and the dominions. Next one, please. One Ariana with its 8 dominions, one of 3 domiciles of the house of the house of the dominions, that should say. At center, the center little ball here, right? At center, it's a crucible point containing the Epheron crystal room with view. All right, here are the 8 dominions, the Eta Archai C units, which are in that same configuration. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8. So they're the same structure of the 8 cell clusters. This is one Ariana, and there's 3, but there's 2 others in the other matrices, right? In the other Astriya Jatu. Astriya Jatu. So this is the structure of one Astriya Jatu. So one Ariana, and this area represents the pinnacle, or the Astriya Tau at the center of the Astriya Jatu pre-substance consciousness fields. There we go. Next one, please. The Epheron crystal room, crucible point, and the halls of Astriya Jatu. Again, you have the Astriya sorry, I get this, I go crazy with these sometimes, my eyes kind of cross. The Astriya Tau, which is that center ball, in the Astriya Jatu. Halls of Astriya Jatu. These are these configurations that are running in here. So they're another set of halls within the balls. And let's see, this is the one Ariana with its 8 dominions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is the place where we're going to take a journey to. And this is where finally this is opening into this system down here. They didn't say the first time when. I don't know if it ever has in this particular system that Earth is a part of. So next one, please. We're going to come back to this, and if we just remember the breath, where the breath of the eternal ancient eyes, where you inhale. We don't have to do it right now, but just to remember it, because when we do the codes that go with opening those series of frequencies all the way up to the Efi, we'll need to use that sequence, that breathing sequence. So it's where you get just inhale up to receive a little fuzzy spark of Efi consciousness, Efi flow, and it'll come from your own, open eyes. That you started the process of opening the eyes, the eternal eyes. So it'll come as you inhale up with the attention to get it. It will send a spark to you, and you grab that, and then exhale it down to first into the chi gland at the pineal, then down to the azare, then down to the day center, then back to the coccyx duct, then up into the left in the back into the spleen, and then from the spleen to the heart chakra. And this is the inhale as we start inhaling again into the spleen to the heart chakra back up to the fontanelle, and up and out into the halo. All right, so that's what we're going to do with the codes that we're going to see in a minute. So can we put that aside so we can put it back up for a minute right before we go the code run? Yes?
When we go through the pineal, when we go to the fontanelle, the top you stick to the fontanelle, but do we go through the pineal on the way up to the fontanelle?
You can. Yeah, it'll go there anyway. Yeah. Okay. This is called, and again, I didn't have time to typeset the things yet, the code of Austria Jatu, which is considered code 4 in this sequence. So that actually will come last. So we have to put that one as last. But what it is these 4 codes are actually the schema bone codes. So these are the ones that activate the schema level of the carusic membranes. And it's the planetary schema passages that are opening during these activations. So these are the codes that are used for the beach events, but will also be the codes that are used to work with the templates, the schema templates that govern your bones and those kind of things to clear those things. So this is the bone set, and I think that there's some encryption that will come on this. It's just not in yet, and we don't need it for the beach event, but it will be there by the time we're working with them directly for, working with the bones. So there's that one, and again, it's the structure of the Austria Jatu, and Jatu, yeah, and with its configuration of the 4 nobilities and the room with the view, the Epheron crystal in the center. So that's the imprint of that. Next one, please. So that one we should put for last, right? Because it said 4 on the top.
It says on the bottom, it says 2. This was
No, there's 2 different. It says, see on the top line, it says code 3, but then below it says schema bone code 2. But when you're using it for these activations, you have to follow that top line. All right, just so we can.
the bottom.
Just let's see them first.
That's the bottom. That's the last one.
Okay, start those over. Okay, you got, start the code parts over. We just need to see the top part of them, the top numbers.
Like
Thank you. Let's see. So that is 3. No, this is 3. All right, this is 4. So use that last. This is 2. And this is number 1, I believe. There we go. Okay, so let's show them to everybody this way. And we'll go through them to see them, and then we'll cycle them this way. All right? It's the top numbers, not the bottom ones.
Okay.
The bottom numbers go with the code number for the bones. All right, which means you use them in a different order for the bones. All righty. Now, this is basically the FE code, the Epheron code. And in the sequence of accessing the room with the view, it's used as code 1, but in the schema bone series, it's actually code 4, the last one. And I have a feeling there's going to be more something added to this one too when we get to the level of using it for bone. It'll still begin the process of activating the Carusa templates and Carusa membranes on the schema level to begin their clearing. But there's something more I can feel coming in there. So that'll be that one. And we didn't even get the description of what they do yet, but by looking at it, you can tell pretty much what it's activating, what parts of what it's activating. So that would be activating the FE level frequencies, because it has the encryption of the 3, not just the 1, but the 3 Austria Jatu. Yeah, Austria Jatu. So it would imply the Trinity. That's the Trinity code of the FE field. Next one, please. This one's called the Crystal Heart of Ariana, and it activates the Ariana and certain frequencies that we'll probably get more on, because there's a lot more on the crystal configuration thing that we're going to cover, later in the last session. So this goes with activating the frequencies of the Ariana from the Astriaja. Yeah, I'm trying to remember these from the Astri. Astriyajatu, from our Astriyajatu. Out of the three, we're in one of them. Our systems are in one of them. And this would be the code to open the Ariana level of ours. All right, so that's what that one goes with. Next one, please. This one is called the Code of the First 8 Dominions. And it will be used third in the sequence of accessing the room with a view. And this is actually taken out of that whole configuration of one Astriyajatu. And it's, yeah, so it's actually the flows, and it forms this crystal shape in the center. And this activates the first 8 of the dominions that go with our Astriyajatu matrix. And that means that it implies, and I have a feeling there's going to be a code that has the other 2 as well. So it would, have 2 more of those probably added to it. And that would go with the whole trinity, where you'd have, the codes for the 3 of them activated for the 24 dominions. And is that the last one? One more, okay. Now that one, and it's code 1 for the bones, but it's code 4, the one we use at the end. And this is the one that actually kind of brings it down and anchors it like down into our Cosmaya template and into our Cosmaya level in our IA body. I think we call it IA body, that has the eyes. So this series of them begins the flows when we go to from the Epheron. And when we do the beach thing, we'll be doing a journey and projecting up to the Epheron. And this begins, it's good to have the activation a little bit before, and then go have a nice dinner, and then, then we'll do the beach thing, because it gives the codes a little bit of time to begin buzzing, vibrating in the Karusa templates. So let's go back to the first one, please, and we will do the eye breathing, the breathing of the eternal eyes, breath of the eternal eyes. And I believe we're also going to do technique 2 at the beach, which is the breath of the eyes, where we begin to breathe the frequencies directly from the open eyes in our IA body. Okay, so with this one, let me see if they have any special instructions. They didn't give us any tones on them yet either, but they will have them. Let's see what they want to do. They said this one will just be simple if while looking at it, like we did with some of them, the first night, and we go up and breathe up and wait to receive our spark of Effie from our own IA body, and then as we exhale them down through the points, it'll just kind of go and pop in, through the eyes. It'll do its own optical pineal induction, and then it'll ride with the Effie spark, and it'll come back up with your inhale, and come back up and come into your shield, the shield that that we created that's on top of the fontanelle. All right, so let's inhale up and wait for our spark. And Norway can be doing this too. Please pass on that message. That was to control central back there. And exhale slowly down to the points. Fontanelle to pineal. Pineal to Azare. Azare to day center. Back around to coccyx, tailbone. And then inhale up from tailbone. Up to spleen. Up to heart chakra. Then up to fontanelle, and then pop it out into the shield. Okay, and next one. Hi, Norway, if you're listening. Okay, same thing again. Wait. Inhale up, get spark. Feel spark. Watch code and exhale down to pineal, Azare, day center, tailbone. Then inhale up, tailbone to spleen, spleen to chakra 4, chakra 4 to fontanelle. And pop to the shield. That one felt interesting. Next one, please. Ooh. I have a feeling these are going to be intense when you get the three of them together. Okay, and again, inhale up to the fontanelle. Receive spark. And exhale down to the pineal, to the azare, to the day center, to the tailbone, and then up, tailbone to spleen, spleen to chakra 4, chakra 4 back to fontanelle, and pop to the shield. And one more. Okay, inhale up to grab spark. Fontanelle. Exhale down. Pineal. Azare. Day center. Tailbone. Inhale up to spleen. Spleen to chakra 4. Chakra 4 to fontanelle. And pop up to shield. There we go. Alrighty. And they're saying that we'll be ready to, by the time we're finished with dinner, they will have set enough in the fields, and then they will give us a tonal sequence that goes with this activation, but it's not one that you would use at home or anything, so they didn't write that one down. There's another one that you use to use these for the bones and things, so they will give us that live at the beach, and they will already start their initiation process, like it's a little kind of like buzz feeling, because they're now set into your, your chismatic field, into your karusa templates, which are the plasm templates. So I hope you have a lovely dinner, and we're going to have music, entertainment, Sushi and Suchi Waters and Benjamin and Lamar's band are going to play, and then after that we're going to go to the beach. So I will see you during the process. Thank you. And we're going to do Norway. We're actually going to do a Norway link. Yeah. They can run that sequence now. Right, the breathing, if they didn't do it with us, they can do that. They did do it? Okay, great. All right, now they're going to do something. They're asking Andreas to stand and transmit to the screen, if you can do that. Okay, it's going to take a second to bring them up. All right, we're going to do the link to arc the activation between the two spaces. I get to say hi to our Norway crew. Hopefully. The technology holds. Working on it. We're waiting.
We're just waiting for the projector to warm up.
Is it gonna work, you think? Yep. Okay. Hey! Hi, wherever you are.
Norway.
Hi, love. Okay. I know you're over there. We're going to do a hand link through, I'm going to literally project through your image on the screen. Link with your hands there. That'll leap back to you over in the computer, and that'll arc over to you over there. Okay?
Okay.
Right? Sounds good. All right. See if you can sense it when it comes over, and kind of go, okay, think I feel it. When it comes over, you're usually pretty good at sensing that. So just let me know. All right? I'm going to start. Yeah. Need the palms. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. That was fast. Wow. Okay. Now you do the same. Transmit just out toward the screen that you're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll leap through and come back through you over here. Wow. That was fast. That was instant. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see what they want to do next. Isn't he great? I just love this guy. All right. One more thing. What do they want to do? Oh, really? Okay. They're saying this ought to be bizarre. We're gonna, you know how we've done the Niedra stands before? Oh no! Don't pixelize. This is so weird. Well, they're actually going to have me, you stand there like that for a minute, or like sit there, whatever you're doing. They want me to stand in front of you on the screen as if you're standing behind me, like when we do Niedra stands. Oh,
Okay.
This is weird. But to kind of stand up and put, oh, then we're going to lose your head, though. How do you want to do this with the palms? Oh, okay. All right. They're going to have me reach my palms back toward yours. Instead of doing down Niedra, they're going to have me do it up. So you can keep your palms where they were, unless your hands are like arms are falling asleep. So we're going to transmit to the group this way, together, because we're linking fields. And just focus on, remember that 2 becomes 3 becomes 1 field that we know how to do. Just kind of put ourselves in there, and I will try this really strange technique. This is fascinating. All right, so I'm coming over to stand in front of you. This is wonderful. I was tickling you on your chin. What are you doing? What are you doing? I need your hands. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try. Put your hands a little closer together so I can put my palms like. Yeah. There we go. Cool. All right. Get ready to transmit. All right. Inhale up. And exhale. Transmit over. Go. Another one, please. And one more. Actually, they want to do this one where I turn around, and it's like we would do it different. I would be behind you, except they're going to do it this way because I can't get behind you because you're not here physically. So I'm going to turn toward the screen and put my palms, and they're going to transmit out the back of my palms. That will do the same thing they said as if I was doing the Niedra behind you. So, palm to palm. Can you put your palms a little closer together?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now let's do one more breath where we inhale and you transmit over. It'll come out the back of my palms, they're saying. Okay? Okay. Inhale up. Wow, it's coming out the back of my heart chakra too. Wow. Okay. It's still transmitting, so you can breathe normal. Okay. That's good. Okay, we're done with the palms, they said. That's good. So you can put your palms down. I wonder if your arms are asleep yet over there. This is so weird. I want to get a setup like this. This would be great to have at the house because I could just talk to you and stuff when I miss you and you're not here.
Sure.
I like this. This is fun. I've never Skyped before, so. Okay. Anything else that they need us to do? Have you guys induced the codes over there yet?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. Alrighty. They're asking you on that end if you guys would run a crystal river thing and anchor those into the grids at the Oslo grids. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to let these people go for dinner. All right. Thank you. This was cool. Thank you, Jan. ever. I don't know where to look. I just talk to you as if you're there, and I know you're not really there. You're over there and over there somewhere. But can you
That's
see?
right.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, well, I don't know if you're tuning in at the beach or not. I don't know if they have a setup where you can listen or the phone or something. You can
we'll
do it if
tune
you
in.
want. Okay, great. So we're going to go to the beach after the dinner, just because we had to juggle timings because the program got huge and it's running late as usual. Okay.
That's okay.
All righty. So we'll see you or hear you later.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. This is great.
Hi. That was so cool and so strange. Wow, that was really weird. It was neat. I want to get a setup like this for the house. You sit on the couch and talk to him as if he's there. That'd be really nice. Have a great dinner, and after dinner we'll do the beach event. All righty. Thank you. Thank you guys who arranged the technical stuff to do that. That was so cool. Thank you for your patience once again. Well, I managed to get 20 more done. I haven't slept yet, but yeah, it ran really late at the beach. It was interesting. That was one of the longer ones I think we've ever done as far as journeys. So what we're going to do, because some people have to leave, earlier, we're going to do the techniques that still need to be done. We're going to get the technique and activation things done, first before we go into the other things, because it's better to get them live if you can. So we're going to go into that series first. Let's see what we have left. Let me find my pointer. I actually did find another one. Bring another one. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Gotcha. Make sure it doesn't fly around. Yeah. Oh, and Jan Andreas is joining us. He's on Skype, so he's participating, but he's just not up on the big screen. I thought it was pretty neat. It was like having his higher self or something there in the huge size. Okay. Now, the techniques. This is what we've done with the techniques so far. The technique 1, opening your eternal ancient eyes. We did that one, that first one. Technique 2, the breath of the eye is eternal. That's kind of like the second part of that one. And we've done part 1, and some of it was actually done in the beach thing. So we have to do the second part, which has to do with parachute popping, which is where we end up with our shield that went to a little parachute becomes a really big one. And that comes in after we finish the code inductions for the Ludfar and we actually induced the schema codes already, which are the ones that go with the bone, because they were the ones that were used before we went to the beach event. And the drama codes, which are really interesting looking codes. They're pretty interesting. And there's 2 really neat pieces of resonance alignment imagery that were done by other artists, and they've probably not heard the word resonance alignment imagery before, but they are encoded and encrypted, so they're included in there as well. What else we have to do is we did the awakening the Aaronic cloak of Orion on the beach. Technique 4, awakening the Ludfar liquid codes. We need to do that. Technique 5, awakening the schema bone codes. That was done before dinner, but we're going to do something to amp that. Technique 6, awakening the Drama skin codes. That we did part of it on the beach when our plasma bodies were hanging upside down, spinning and dripping on us, and we were in our VitaCap, right? Right. That started that process of the Drama skin activating on our skin and through our skin, right? But there's another part to do that where we induce the codes. 7, flipping the ancient switches. We did part 1 and 2 of that at the beach, but there's still part 3 to do, and they didn't tell me where the 3rd switch is yet or how many switches we have. But we did do the day center one and the wing spot one. So that's beginning to, there's a whole set of circuitries in the plasma templates and in the plasm templates that go with the switches, the ancient switches, and it's very, very complex. I've seen like diagrams fly by, kind of like when I'm on my way to sleep and going, oh brother. And there's a lot of that they're probably not going to bring down. They're bringing down the most important things that we need to know. So we will do the next part of the drama codes and the flipping the switches, and let's see, awakening your eternal voice of wisdom, etc. We did that at the beach when we went up and began our exchange with our original first encryption when we came out, and then we gave our body pattern to that encryption this time. That began the opening of the vow. There may be something else that comes through in one of them that does the next step of that, I'm not sure. Or I know there's several steps to that process, and some of them, maybe for future Shift Masters workshops, I'm not sure. Let's see, this one's going to be neat. The FE Glow, sunbathing in the eternal love of the longtime sun. We're going to do that one, and that's pretty neat. They've shown me glimpses of that, and that looks like it's going to be really nice. And then 10 through 12 were the beach activation, the journeys and the various things we did during the beach activation. So we're not too bad as far as the activation levels go. We've covered a lot of it already. Let's see, next one, please. This I just wanted to point out. This is the core creation sequence where it shows like from conception when you have a, when egg and sperm come together, and it goes through this cycle of where the spirit body and light body grow, and the fetus starts to grow, and it's in that sector up through here, but it starts here is where the mutation kicks in, where we pick up the ancestral code from literally from the planetary grids as well as from our parent combinations, and our parent combinations, each one of them had the same happen to them, and all the way down the line from wherever a lineage of people started. So these are the imprints that we've begun to clear now that we've gone to the Epheron and began that exchange there. There will be progressive technologies given to us of how to use that access now to begin taking the plasma body on a regular basis into that space and healing things within the plasma body, and then bringing that healed plasma body back into the physical body so it resets the patterns in the physical body as well. And it's a progressive, self-healing process, but it's pretty exciting that we finally are at the top of the ladder, top of the stairway to heaven. It was like the never-ending stairway. Like, do you ever get to the top, or even like a platform that you can go take a rest on or something? This is the top level of that. There's much to learn from here, but it's not all about having to keep climbing the stairway to drag more frequency in. Now we're in a space where it's about kind of standing still and opening ourselves progressively to the frequencies that are the full spectrum frequencies that we've now been able to access. So this was just to remind us of the gestation period and the fact that we picked up this mutation, the Vex hex mutation that's part of the 666 mutation that we've talked about before, and it starts there with the imprints that we get, and it progressively grows as the plasma body grows. And what it has done is it's kept the plasma body dormant, where even though the plasma body interfaces in various places in our body, including the day center, but it literally is supposed to live in our bodies with us, and we're supposed to be able to move it around, and the things we're learning to do now and reactivating it to do, that's supposed to be a normal part of human anatomy, of angelic human anatomy. You don't even have to be a feme to have some of that. And that was completely shut down, where there is magnetic distortions that grow in the fascia, that connective tissue that's surrounding our organs and things, and that literally through repulsion, magnetic repulsion, pushed away the natural bonds that would have happened with the plasma body integrating with the growing cellular structure. So as we work with the schismatic template healings at this level, we'll begin to be able to clear that and turn back on that living connection between our living physical connective tissue and our plasma body tissue. So this is what the failsafe was all about, to actually get back to the point where we had availability of the immaculation process by which we can literally bring ourselves in this lifetime where this becomes our eternal body, and whether or not we are able to bring it out physically this time, we will have a version of it in its perfect form once we do leave. So whether you bardo out or whether we get to actually physically walk and transfigure and go through the gates, either way, you will still have this body. And this will be your body, but it will be in its perfect form, its most perfect form. And it's kind of funny because most people have body images down here. There's not a whole lot of people that feel overly confident about, their body. They either don't like their nose or their thighs or their hair or their muscles or their stomach or, whatever. Or even, worse, there's people that, are born with severe disabilities and those kind of things. If a person that was born, say with severe physical disabilities, were to go through the immaculation process, their physical bodies here may be too damaged to actually completely shift, but they would shift to the degree that they could here, and that would raise their frequency high enough where once it was time to pass that body, they would have that body still, but in its perfected version without the ailment. So it's kind of a neat process. The immaculation process is not available very often anywhere in the external creation. It's only during the Karusala cycles that occur naturally, and they didn't give me how long time periods they are, but I get the feeling they're very, very, very long time periods, between when those gates normally open. But when fail-safe strikes, because of the imbalances all the way up the chain, that's when it gives an opportunity for everybody to heal. If a person had, even if they had been born a Fade Ali for the last 3 million lifetimes, if they chose that they wanted to come home, to the Christ, they could do that. They could go through the immaculation process, and accept the host and be able to clear those things from them. And, so it's like, it's a huge gift for everyone. So next one, please. These will be in the chart pack. I'm not going to go through them. We've seen them before because we've had them in other chart packs. But it's just showing with the egg and the sperm coming together and the things that happen. And it's in this process that we pick up that ancestral imprint, both from our parents, but also from the planet itself. Because the planet itself, its fields, are holding a lot of that distorted history of the planet body. And we pick that whole encryption up. So this is the deep level of how the mutation is held in our bodies. We had to go through the whole process of accessing the light body frequencies, the spirit body frequencies, the Ajay body's frequencies, to get to the point where we could climb up the stairway to heaven this high to get to those core before substance, the pre-substance templates, so we could run those frequencies, the FE frequencies that have the power to clear these things. So these are just in, they'll be in the chart packs. Now with these chart packs, there's not going to be time to get them printed because Darlene said she was having problems with the printers because of the holiday, and I went, what holiday? It's like, oh, right, it's almost Christmas. It was like, duh, I forgot. Yeah, my mind was on other stuff, right? But, so we'll have to do it'll give us time to take them home again and clean them up because we've got them a bit better than they were, the new ones the last time you saw them, but there's still a lot of cleanup to do. And there's, several more graphs that are going to be put in. What the Guardians have said is the reason they're calling these courses is because there will be the initial workshop that gives the activations as early as possible and all of that. But for every one of them, they're going to fill these out as books, like manual form, like the Kathara system was. So each of these 12, I don't know how long it's going to take for them to give the 12, 12 courses of the Shift Masters, but each one is going to be a course with a course book and expanded from what will be in the workshop. But the benefit of the workshops is you get the activations first and faster because it'll take a lot longer to put together the package, the home study package. But it's kind of fun. I'm looking forward to having, they said it'll make Kathara kind of look like kindergarten. Kind of scary when you think about it. Yeah. And I know there's like card sets and things where, with the codes, and there's things you do with them, like all sorts of different things you do with them. So it's something where it's going to evolve to that. I just don't know how long it's going to take. Like even for this one, it may take a year just to get this one in that form where it can be released. I don't know. So anyway, next one, please. And this again is just showing, the process that after the day 6 and the 666 mutation. In day 6, there are things happen that completely block the natural development of the embryo, and even before that, it's the conception point that we start to plug into the ancestral distortion pattern encryption, and it progressively grows with us. So literally, before cells even differentiate into whether it's going to be bone cells or skin cells or blood cells, it imprints all of them, and what are they? They're nudging me. What do they call those cells? Stem cells. It embeds in the stem cells, which means it gets transferred into everything. All of the things that stem cells grow to become and that kind of thing, they transfer that to the cells that are growing in all of the departments of cell growth. So this was a pretty nasty mutation that we've been living with on this planet, and that's why they sent K+8s in, because the ones that have that factor, they could endure getting to the point where they could wake up and then clear their own template and be able to assist others in clearing their templates as well. And they would be able to bring the potentiality of the immaculation back to the planet. So these are just in to show some of the stages. I haven't had a chance to add more information to them about this, but at least they're there so I could talk about them briefly. Next one, please. Now, this is a guy. Yeah. No kidding, right? A. Andrew Gonzalez. He is an artist, and they had a little article here on him, and I just wanted to see him. Esoteric Visions. He does all sorts of interesting, fascinating paintings, and we saw a print of one of his paintings when we went to a shop in Key West, and it was amazing. And I'm looking at it and going, oh, I see those things on people's skin. What are they? Because it actually showed Drema skin. Now, he probably doesn't consciously know what that word means, but it gave a really good visual of what I was talking about on the beach when that skin started to activate, but it also transmits. It's, in its way, resonance alignment imagery that someone else did just by working their own process in, whatever tradition they're in. And because we were so impressed with, with a couple of the paintings or prints of them that we'd seen, I'd looked them up on the internet, and it's kind of funny. It's almost like you could tell when somebody's having a K+8 day and when they're having a not K+8 day, because some of it reads very high level, frequency in that regard, and others of it reads, well, let's just say, not really high frequency in that regard. So it's like a mixed bag, but he's a very talented man. So I'm going to show you next. This is a piece of resonance alignment imagery that will beam at you, but it's also very useful. Now I hope we can get these to come out. Try the other one. There's 2 of them there. We tried to print them out where it would show on the Mylar, because this one might do it. Yeah, this does it a little better anyway. The actual image is really beautiful. There's all these designs running through her skin, right? Not to mention, she's got the lotus at the heart chakra and most of the spots marked with little things that look like our vitacaps, but little ones. So she's also got the wings, the energetic wings, and the fire coming in the 3rd eye, and yeah, so this is a really powerful painting, and they do sell prints of it. I forget what the gallery's name was. It was in Key West that we had seen the prints of it. The originals aren't for sale. They're already sold to someone, but he does an amazing process. He gets a canvas and paints it black, the whole thing black, and then he takes an eraser, a very coarse eraser pencils, and he brings the image out of the darkness, as he words it, which is fascinating. And this is probably why there's such a feel to these when you see them, like not on a Mylar, but in person. You can look him up on the internet to see, some of his things. I didn't see this one in his online portfolio, but I might just not have looked deep enough. But it's very special, and he has several in this genre of, done in this way. And the technique, the art dealer said that, he uses the erasers to bring the white back out, to bring the image out of the darkness, and then puts a coat of a translucent glaze or something, pigment over it, like probably to seal it and then do the next level or whatever. So I thought the process was quite amazing too, and I felt it was quite on purpose. Just like reading about him, he's schooled in various things, esoteric, and but not in a way that it felt offensive. And I just wanted to share that with you because of its resonance alignment ability stuff, but also because, I mean, if you could see the real one, it has the really beautiful designs that look like ghost images running up and down her arms and through the skin. And he's spot on with that when it comes to that is what the Drama skin looks like, except it's moving. It's continually shifting, and like shapes are shifting through it and moving. So I just wanted to let you see that. Next one, please. Remember our breathing, because we're going to go into the Drama code induction. So we want to get these done before people have to start leaving. So it's the simple breath where you go up and bring in some of the frequency from your Effie sparks, and then bring it down into the pineal and chi gland, down to the Azrae, down to the day center, down and around to the tailbone. Then hold for a moment there, and then inhale up to the spleen, and then up to the heart chakra, and then up through the fontanelle again, and okay. That's just doing an open run without inducing, because it gets the currents flowing again. So next one, please. These are the 4 Drama codes. And it's funny, when I see them, they're actually 3-dimensional and moving, which is fascinating. And then the Guardians will freeze frame them and flatten them out so I can see them to draw them. So it's really fascinating, but they're made of like plasms. They're fascinating. They didn't give names, they gave tones for these. So this one is Drama Skin Code 1. The tone is Adue. So we can do an induction, and this one they're saying, okay. I mean, they're going to be more specific on like where to put these. I think. Let's see. Where do you want this one? Hello. All right. With this one, they're saying when we inhale up and we're still on the way up, passing the inhale up to our fontanelle, that's when we grab it visually and take it in and hold it, waiting for the Effie spark at our fontanelle. And then as we get the Effie spark and it comes in, we're going to slowly and stop at each of the spots and give a little bit of an exhale, puff into that spot to bring it into each of the encoding places. So we can exhale down. It's in the pineal. Actually, it jumped into the pineal. Okay, so we can exhale down to the Azrae and stop, and a little bit of puff there, and down to the day center, and a little puff there, and around and down to the tailbone, and release all of it there. And then hold for a second at the bottom of the exhale, and then bring back up from tailbone to spleen. And there's a current that just opened between that and the tailbone and the spleen. Interesting. And then bring it up from the spleen to the heart chakra. And it's doing it again. It's like a chamber of frequency opening. And then again up into the fontanelle. And then hold the image in mind and pop it into your shield over your head. Okay, there's one done. I think each one of them probably has a different way of induction. I'm just getting that for these. They don't all do that, but the skin ones seem to be. Next one, please. Actually, let's bring that back. They're saying do the tones with them now instead of going back and doing them later. Yes, put the tone back for that one. Okay. The tone is Adue. 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 There we go. Okay, next one. So this is Drama Skin Code 2. Its tone is Eshtahu. All right. Yeah. Now, This one, they want to bring in where? Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. 2-point inhale then. All right, as we're inhaling up to our fontanelle to catch the Effie spark, at the same time, this is the way they're wording it. They're saying, pretend you have an eyeball in your day center, right? And as you're inhaling up to your fontanelle, feel that eyeball pulling that image into the day center. So let's try that one, okay? Just hold for a minute until I can feel it spreading in there. It came in. All right, and now when we exhale, we just kind of do it rapidly and stop when we get to the day center for a minute and just let it vibrate. Daniel, Azure, day center. Interesting. And then exhale it down for the last around to the tailbone. Oh, cool. I just saw that code open up over the whole tailbone. That was neat. And now inhale up to the spleen, up to the heart chakra, up to the fontanelle, and out to the halo. And 3 times on the tone. Eshtahu. 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 There we go. Next one. This is Dramaskin code 3. Its tone is, actually it's supposed to be a big A in that. I believe it is. I did that one wrong. It's Nkale. It's on Nkale, right? Nkale, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, now where does this one go? And they said, when we're working with them, like at home, you don't always have to induce them the way we're inducing here. It's one of those things where you kind of get in communication with your vow, your voice of wisdom, and feel out where does it want to go today? Where is it needed today? Because where it's induced will depend on what areas of the fascia it will affect first. And some days it needs it more in this area, and some days it needs it more in another area. So it's flexible, and it requires us becoming mindful of paying attention to our plasma body a bit and actually getting to where we can sense it more. So, okay, this one, they want where? Let's see. Okay, as we inhale up to pick up our Effie spark, at the same time, they want us to draw the image with the inhale into our 6th chakra, 3rd eye, and then hold it for a minute at the fontanelle before we start the release, the exhale. Okay. And now we can start the release downward, back to pineal, back to Azure, down to day center, down around to tailbone, and then up to spleen, up to heart chakra, and up and out fontanelle, and pop into the halo. And Nkale, Nkale, Nkale. And at the end of the code induction sequences, there is a way to use them where you use them as sentences. And you can use them as mantras where you can repeat them as many times as you want. I mean, some people really like mantraing and they'll like do Om for an hour. You know, I get a little bored, honestly, when I do Om for an hour. But these, you can do the sentence for as long as you want to cycle it. And when you do, it's directly bringing the activations, you know, on a more active level into the plasma body and also into the fascia of the physical body to, you know, assist it in clearing. Next one, please. This is the composite of all of them, and it does something. It's greater than the sum of its parts, they said, so it holds more layers of coating than just each of them alone. And when you put them all together, they do something big. In fact, it was a pull-out code because it came in this form first. And then they said, now take this part and do that with it and add this. Then take this part and do that with it and add this. And that's how it was a pull-out code. A lot of the graphs come that way, where I get this really complex graph, and I'm looking at it and going, there's so many black lines on this paper, I can't even see what aligns with anything anymore. And then they have me start whiting out things, and images come out of the darkness, just like with the guy that paints and then takes the eraser to it. So this one, its tone is Da-Ouija. Da-Ouija. And Ouija. Yeah. Where does this one go? How do you get it there? Right? It goes in the wing spot. It's like, okay, how do we get it there? Right? They're going to tell me. Okay. We're going to bring it in again through the sixth chakra into the third eye and into the pineal area when we're doing the inhale up. And then when we get to the exhale down to the azure, we're going to give a back push with a little bit of the exhale breath and go, and it'll pop it back into the wing spot that's behind the azure area. Okay, and then we'll just proceed with going down. So it'll pop an encryption back there, but it'll also carry the encryption down and through the circuit. Okay, so inhale up and pick it up into the pineal. Hold. And move down to the pineal with the Fe spark. Pick up the code and bring it down to the azure. Hold it there. And do a little back puff. And then continue the descent of the breath to the day center, to the tailbone, and then up to the spleen, up to the fourth chakra, and then up to the fontanelle, and out to the halo. Oh, that's really strange feeling. It feels like it came alive or something, where it's dancing or something. It's like, oh, that tickles. They said it'll settle down. It's just the encryption talking to the plasma body membranes. It's like, hello, okay, alrighty, good. Okay, so the Drama skin codes are in, and we can do the toning on this one, and then move on to the next. It's Da-Ouija. 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 Okay, next one. This is another resonance alignment imagery painting. This is by a different artist. This is by an artist. I tried to get anything on him on the internet, and I couldn't find anything. Even Wiki didn't have anything on him. But his name is Arne Eklund, and he's a Norwegian painter. I think he died in '94. That's about all I could find out on the internet. But this, when I first saw this painting, I was like, oh my goodness, it's transmitting, right? It's like the thing is transmitting. And it was transmitting in a good way. It's really pretty in person, like they don't show up really well on the Mylars. But I remember feeling when I first saw the image that I felt like the cave was open and that you could actually project through it. Just like when we were doing our WA training and using our mirrors and projecting through our mirrors, I felt like you could do that in that spot, in that painting. And I remember them saying, it's just not open yet. And right, but yes, you can. The person, I did hear something about the artist from a person who collects some of the artist's work, said that he claimed at some point in interviews or something on TV, or not TV, but somewhere in interviews publicly, that he either received them from outer space, the images, or something like that. And I did find that the guy was a doctor of some sort, a doctor and PhD. So it was not just, some, person that is not an educated person or anything. He was quite educated. And some of these are really special. I think it's spelled Ekeland, and you can find a couple of images. I couldn't find this one on the internet, but there's a number of other paintings. He's done a lot. Some of them are kind of really strange, and some of them I really like, and they're all kind of like in this vernacular. But there's a lot of coding being held in all of that. And this one corresponds, they said this is actually encrypted to the Ludfar codes, the liquid codes, where the one with the lady from the other artist was actually encrypted to the Drema codes, the skin codes. So this one actually goes with the next set, which will be the Ludfar codes for the liquids, the liquid induction. Next one, please. This one is Ludfar Liquid Code 1. It's, and they just refer to it as Sonate Kosmaya code. The tone is Huatu. This is a very interesting mathematical shape, by the way. And when you take just one of them, it looks like a ray, which is fascinating. And we're going to actually use that, or you're going to be using it as our logo, just one of them, right? But because it holds the piece at the beginning of the math for the liquids. So this was, the first one was fascinating, is these are them without tails, 8 of them, right? So they're mathematically encrypted, and this gets even more interesting as we go, all right? So this one, what do they want to do with these? There's something different with the liquids, isn't there? Okay, they went, yep. I'm like, well, what? You're going to show me. Okay. Okay. All of them? Okay, they said, yep, all of them. This is an interesting induction way. They said, when we inhale up to catch our Fe spark, at the same time, we're to inhale the image off the off the screen and down through our crown chakra, and while we're still on the up breath, like kind of, and then hold and wait for the Fe spark to come, and then do the usual circuit with the breath. So let's try that. Inhale and pull it off, and it's like a flip up, flip out. Okay, and now bring it down to the pineal, to Azare, to day center, to tailbone, and leave it there for a minute, they're saying. It's pulsing a little bit. Okay, and now actually bring the code, the visual of it with you up to the spleen with the inhale. Hold at the spleen. And give a little tiny exhale puff at the spleen to put it in there. And then keep going and leave it there from the spleen up to heart chakra 4. Then up to the fontanelle. And pop the encryption up into the halo. And its tone is Huatu. 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 Okay, next one. This one is fascinating. Now, this is actually what I believe they call them the kions when we use that shape in the earlier, I think it was April or May, they introduced these in the Tantra teachings. And with this one, this is the actual shape of the epheron crystal. It's actually shaped like that code, like that, that shape of those crystals. And this is called the eyes of epheron. And all of these frequencies have to do with some graphs that we'll see later. And if you miss those, that's all right. They'll be in the chart packs, and you can, you'll hear it from, because we'll do the Vimeo download for the parts you missed. But these are actually the center point, enlarged really, really big. When you see how the 48 planes of the plasms are formed in the deity planes and all of that, which is a segment we'll do like more toward the end, because it's just like, technical information as opposed to activations that, the people that might need to leave need to get, the activations and techniques first. But it's really great. I'm really grateful for Dave again, because Dave, my son-in-law, has been doing, the graphics. I'll tell him, can we put this and this together and like do it this way, on the computer? Because I could never get them aligned properly, or do this level of detail by hand. So this one, it's, let's see, what is its tone? Is it up there? Uh-oh. Typesetting forgot, okay. Oh, wait, we have something different happening with the liquids, don't we? No, there's another one. Let me look in the pack, because there's one where they're all listed on one page. Yeah, I just want to find that, because if the liquids do have them on them, it might be that they might not have them on them. One of them didn't, so I think it might be them, because they were going to do something different. But let me look, because there's one where I have all of them broken out onto one sheet. Oh yeah, there's supposed to be tones. Those one have tones. Okay. So let's find the tones. Okay. This is number 2. Okay. Let's just put this up for a minute so we can just pronounce it. It's the second one under the lid first. Okay. So these would be the tones that go with the 4 lid codes. The first one we did, which is the Hawata. The second one, this one, is Humet Ta'iva. Humet Ta'iva. Humet Ta'iva. Okay? And just keep that there for, like, put the other code up. Let me see that one again. Yeah, we need to induce that, and then we'll go back to that one to repeat that. Okay. This one again, we do the inhale up to catch the spark at the fontanelle, but at the same time, pull the image with the eyes and pull it off and flip it up into the crown chakra at the top of the head. So inhale up and pull. And begin the descent down to pineal, down to azure, down to day center, down to tailbone, and then up to spleen, and up to heart chakra, and leave it there for a second, and kind of a little exhale puff at the heart chakra, and then keep going up to the fontanelle, and out into the shield. They said that one actually does have to do directly with the frequencies of our eyes as well, that it affects the templates and starts to bring those frequencies alive in the I'm just calling them the plasm templates instead of trying to trip over those words when I have had not any sleep, right? So that's the pre-substance one, the plasms. So it ought to be interesting to see. I'm hoping that will be helpful with vision, because both myself and some members of my family, have vision problems. So it would be nice if they would help. I don't know if they will, but we'll find out. And that's the Humet Ta'iva. Ta'iva. Humet Ta'iva. Yeah. And the next one, there's one missing on that too. They might not have given me one of them. You need the pack, right? I stole your pack. Okay, that just so we don't lose, because I didn't paginate these, there wasn't time. So they're just like in a row. If I put them back, we're going to get stuff lost. All right, that goes after what's called page 20, which isn't page 20, but it's marked page 20. So if we can, yeah, see these? Page 20 is marked. That one.
Okay, so after that one?
Yeah, that one is scribbled 20.
So make them a square.
It'll go in there. Okay.
Like that, yeah. So I know where to
Yeah.
mark.
This one's called the Son of Ariana. And what's interesting, there's the rays again. Right? There's 8 rays, and there's 8 suns. And this whole configuration is referred to as the crystal heart of the Ashayana. There we go. I'm a little slow, but if I can read it in my head, I can say it. So, and this one does have its tone. I think they'll give me the other one, and I'll have to write it down so I don't forget it. Okay, this one again, we're going to do the pull it up and flip it into the crown chakra on our inhale. And begin the descent. Pineal, Azare, Day Center, tailbone, and then up to spleen, up to heart chakra, and up to fontanelle, and out into the halo. And the tone is, it's Ahue, actually, is how it's pronounced. Ahue. 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 Good. And we'll put the next one up, and I'm going to get a pen, because I think that one's missing its tone. And they'll give it to me. Here. No, it actually has it. All right, so that was, the other one was missing its tone. That was that one. Okay. Whichever, they'll give it to me. Weird. I'm asking them, like, did we use the wrong tone for one? They said, no, it's all right, this way, just do it. But we'll give you one more tone that goes with the first one. Okay. So this is Humate. This is interesting. This one is called the long time sun code. Because what this refers to is this is the 24 suns, which means the 3/8 are 24. So there's 8 suns from our Jatu, and there are 8 from the other one in the Trinity, and there are 8 from the top one in the Trinity. So this is the Trinity, Trinity Sun codes, where it has the codings of the 24 Kai in the Christ code. So that's the power code for the waters, and I can't wait to see these in color and like what colors they become and that kind of thing. But again, it's 3 sets of the rays. The outer ones, the outer 2 sets that are together go clockwise, and the inner set goes counterclockwise. So you have the electricals and the magnetics. And eventually I can sense there's something that happens at the middle. There's another code that ends up over there. These codes will be, they will show us how they evolve and how they grow, and other ways we can work with them as they progress in the programs, you know, in the Shift Masters programs. Alrighty, so let's bring that one into the crown chakra. And in the descent breath, pineal, Azare, Day Center, tailbone, hold, then up to spleen, up to heart chakra, and up to fontanelle, and pop. And the tone for this, we'll use Humate. 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 Okay, and they're going to give me one more tone to use to finish off the set. Okay, this one is Ja. It's funny. It's some languages have that roll of the tongue thing, and some don't, and English doesn't. So when that happens, I'm kind of like, how do I wrap my tongue around that? It's the Ja Kshatriya, 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 Kshatriya. I don't even know how to write that. To put an inflection mark or something. I don't know what you do with that. Some languages have that, and some don't. Kshatri. And it's spelled like Thre. In English, American English would go 3, and it's not. It's 3 with a r. Kshatriya. Okay, there we go. We got that one. Yep. Here we go. Okay, these were, we've already induced these, and there's a way to use the sequence of coding on where we have them all on the same thing, where you're using the sentences for the skin and the liquids, and it triggers the bones. So they didn't provide any additional bone codes, tones yet. It means they're probably going to do something different with them, in the next level of the shift masters or something. So I was just putting these on to remind people that when we used them before, when we induced these, the set of them before dinner, for the activations there, we used them in a different sequence. So this one was code 4 in the sequence we used for the activation on the beach. But when we're working with the Scamma bone codes, it's actually code 1. So that's why there's 2 code numbers with it. So when you're working with these, once we have your chart packs and stuff finished, and you're working with them at home, you would use this as code 1, not as code 4, when you're working with the bone codes. Next one, please. I'm just going to show you, the same thing with the others. Yeah, this one was, code of the first 8 dominions. It was code 3. It's actually Schema bone code 2. All right. So this one, the crystal heart of. Can you pull that down a little, please? Thank you. The crystal heart of Ariana was code 2, and for the bone applications for Schema bone codes, it's 3. And the next one, please. And that one, the Etheron code was code 1 in the sequence before, but it's actually code 4 in the bone code series. So there's those. Now I'm going to add that one to here because it goes in with this thing. Let me see that for a minute. I think I have a marker that'll write on that. No. That. Thanks. Oh, great. It's on the other side of that. Where did I scribble it? No. There it is. Okay. Goes here. J-H-A. D-H-R-E. 3. There we go. Just because we need it there for if we're going to run it as a sentence. Okay, that should work. Here we go. Okay, Karusik, plasm template, and membrane intrafacial amplification mantras. Said you can repeat either audibly or mentally, and honestly, audibly makes it stronger. It's because the body really feels the vibration when the vocal cords are actually, toning them. But, in certain applications, you don't want to sit there toning strange words because, family or friends or, people at the bank or the store might think you're a little strange if you're in the mood to do that and you do it out loud. So you can also do them mentally, but it is recommended that when you start playing with them, when you get them home, work, have a little time where you can have some private time, even if it's in the shower, and just stick them in a waterproof something and stick them on the shower wall with a suction cup or something, where you can actually, vibrate them through your body with your voice. So the Drama Skin Codes intrafascial amplification mantra is the 4 of them strung together, which is let's see if I can do that. Adue estau en kale dawija. Adue estau en kale dawija. And one more. Adue estau en kale dawija. Okay, and then, yeah, and then we can do the next ones. That's enough times. They're saying they're already activated, they said. So it's just, right now, we can use them right now, but it's not going to amplify any further because they won't go faster than the templates can comfortably accommodate it. So we just started the activation. So using the sentences right now won't make it happen faster because it would make it happen too fast and the templates just won't allow that to happen, so they'll moderate it. But it's good for amplification, like when you go home and you're playing with the technologies and things. It will help to amp then, but it will still, as all the activations always have been, that you can't over amp because it will stop because because the acoustic frequencies won't allow the over amping in your body where you would get hurt by it or anything. Unlike some of the Kundalini practices where some people can have really bad experiences with, some of the different technologies involving Kundalini energy and playing with the chakras and that kind of thing. You don't get that with, with the Guardian's work. So the Lidfar liquid codes, intrafacial application mantra, it's the Huate, Humet Ta'iva, Ahue. Then the Jatria. Yeah. Yeah.
Before it was TU in the first one, it's TA now.
Which one? That was TU? Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll correct them. They're not saying it's changing the encryption enough where it's hurting anything. So I'll have to go back and see which one was right. When you have a bunch of people typesetting and trying to read my scribbles while we're, under time pressure, it's very easy. And this one is actually mine, but I was copying it off some of the other stuff that various other people typeset. So it's like, who knows who? So we'll check that out. So is this one you're saying? Okay. Yeah, that was a TU. Okay. Yeah. So we will check it, but it's not hurting anything. And the bone codes can be amplified, and we just actually did this because we just ran them together. You take the 2 of those and run them as one sentence. So if you're going to use it as a mantra, you'd use it in a cyclic manner where you'd do the whole thing and then run another round of the whole thing and another round of the whole thing, that kind of thing. So let's see. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Okay, next one. Okay. All right, I guess that's our cue back there. This we're going to have to go off camera for this because it's we're just going to share with friends in a private setting because we haven't had time to contact anyone on copyright. So it's something that's found on the internet, but it is another one of those pieces of activation, art, and song that are done. The song is done by Snatham Kaur. And we have our website address available and stuff too. Yeah, we'll put that up in a minute. But I'd like to keep the lyrics up. And this is the song that Suchi had sung for us, because we'd asked her if she'd ever heard it and if she could sing it. And this is the original artist who did it. She's a lovely Sikh lady that I read her bio. She was born in Colorado and raised, in the Sikh faith. And she's always been very musical. She has a lot of things in the Sikh chants that she actually does that are quite beautiful as well. And it was kind of interesting because the Guardian said, we've got people with K+8 factor scattered all over the place in all sorts of faiths and colors and religions because they need to be, because when they activate, they can begin bringing those healings to the people in those cultures. So, she has her orientation and her culture, but she has a really lovely website and things too. But the song is, when I first heard it, all of the hairs on my arm stood up, and I went, all right, what's this, Guardians? And I said, it's an activator song. Right? So we found it, and I would not have known who it was, except we have the satellite radio, and it shows the name in the little window in the car thing. And so I wrote it down really quick. And actually, no, I didn't write it down. I wrote it down when I got home. I took a picture of it with my camera because I happened to have my camera with me. Yeah. And that's how I found her. So we're going to listen to it, but not only listen to it. The lyrics are pretty easy. May the longtime sun shine upon you. And for us, our interpretation of the longtime sun is actually the Christ star, because that huge, the Effie, is the full configuration of a full Christ star being. And that would be the longtime sun, because it's everlasting, actually. So, may the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. I also notice in her songs, because I listened to a few of the others, that she uses the sometimes repeat things 3 times thing, so she's aware of the repetition factor in using mantras. And a lot of her songs actually are mantras. In some of the sacred Sikh, they have texts that have specialized language in them. And she learned those languages because she had an affiliation for it since she was a kid. So they're really beautiful. I would recommend going to her site. And just like with some things, like with some artists, some of the paintings are really inspired and you can feel the good frequency from them. And then you look at some of the others and go, ooh, that was a bad day. Right? Nice painting, bad day. Ooh. So it's, if we say, oh, this is really great, that doesn't mean we're aware of everything a person or an artist has done and that we feel comfortable with all of it. But we appreciate it when we see it out there, where we see plus 8 factor coming through in a way that's helpful and healing. So it's like, learn to feel out what feels right for you and what doesn't. And enjoy the part that feels right and just don't play with the part that doesn't. So the second verse is may the long, it's the same as the first, really. I thought there was some more lyrics to it, but maybe not. May the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. And it's like a repetitive chant, but it's sung like a song. They also have, there's a video that another person did to her song, and his name, what was it? Dracun. His name is Dracun. That's how he has it listed on the thing. So we give Dracun credit, and we're showing this privately. We're not going to film it or anything. We would like to contact them and see if they would, be interested in, letting us use it in the video or something at some point. But we'll leave that to see what happens, if we can contact them or not. But meanwhile, you can contact them and you can enjoy this on the internet too. But it's an activator song for the, specifically for the bone codes, actually. So they would like to have it before the people that have to leave. They would like to run this. So I'm going to go off mic and we can just all listen and watch together if it works right.